All righty. Everybody find their way here? Apologies for the missed start here today. How's everybody doing out there? Good, good. I'm glad it finally started up. I apologize. For some reason, the pre-scheduled, the schedule that I created just won't load up. And so I guess this is a known error that happens on occasion. But I see a couple of you have joined. Welcome, welcome. We'll wait a minute or two here to let some other folks join. I apologize. You know, I try to make things easy and to make things hard. Yeah, I hear you, Yolanda. Looks like we've got a couple of people still joining. Woohoo! Welcome, everybody. Gonna wait a couple of moments here for students to continue joining before we get started. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but for whatever reason, the previously scheduled stuff is not working. While we're waiting for people to join us, let's take a look at some of these flowers in here. Look at how things are doing. Beautiful. Take a look at this. Everything in here is doing really well. We even have some critters chewing on our nasturtiums. Some lovely flowers in here today. Look at that. It's all coming along. It's only been in the ground for a couple of weeks. Gorgeous. And the weird thing that the bear left us is still here too. Ha 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 ha. This live is actually a gardening live stream. And in a moment, I'm going to be teaching people how to plant and grow chayote. Yes, yes, ma'am. Now give me 1 second. I'm gonna set this on here, and oh my goodness, I left the chayote by the back door. You're gonna have to give me 15 seconds to run and grab that chayote, and I will be right back. Time me, 15 seconds. Well, shoot, I think I took 16 seconds. But I got the chayote. There we go. Now, how many of you know what a chayote is? How many of you have eaten this before? Yolanda, the drip irrigation was very inexpensive. It didn't cost very much at all. It was really, let's see, probably under $40 for the drip irrigation system. And actually, let me show you while I'm talking. I set up 2 areas. Grab the camera here. So between the raised bed here, where we set up this little drip irrigation system, and the drip irrigation system against the back side over there, under 50 bucks, probably closer to around 40 or so, but I'd have to do some number crunching to give you an exact number. All right. I see some folks love chayote. Oh, was it 21 seconds, Yolanda? Goodness, I'm slow. Yolanda doesn't care for the chayote, eh? You know, I like chayote quite a bit. I grew up eating chayote. My grandmother and my grandfather used to grow chayote, and so I've been eating this since I was pretty young. You're right that it is a little bit on the bland side, although, I mean, I guess if you have it fresh, it might be a little bit better. Now these chayote that I have here are most definitely not fresh. I had to pick these up at the grocery store. Unfortunately, I had a lot of trouble finding fresh chayote. When you want to plant them, it's really important to get chayote that is as local as possible. This was imported from Mexico, found out by reading the tag on it. And unfortunately, this was either in deep refrigeration or it was frozen. I could tell because when I grabbed them, they were ice cold. Ice, baby. I'm sorry. And as they've defrosted, we take a closer look at this chayote here. You can see I'm already starting to get pock marks on this. This has been here for maybe 2-3 hours, slowly warming up. And pock marks like this forming this early on is a really good sign that these probably were frozen. And there's a pretty good chance that these are not going to grow, but I'm still going to try. This is a little bit late in the season to be starting up some chayote. But I've been having a real hard time finding these, especially finding these fresh. Now, normally, I can find these at local farmers markets. In fact, the Pomona Farmers Market usually has these, but yeah, this was not a good year for chayote. Now, the interesting thing about chayote is that when you want to plant this, you actually need to plant the entire fruit. Now, there is a seed inside here, but you don't want to take the seed out of the fruit. You actually need to plant the entire thing, and you need to know how to plant it properly. Now, first things first, if you want to plant chayote, make sure that you get something that's very fresh, something that has not been frozen. While this can go in refrigeration, if it feels like a block of ice, that's a pretty bad indication. It's much better if you can pick these up at a farmer's market. Farmer's markets, aren't going to be putting these in refrigeration, hopefully. And as a matter of fact, some farmers markets, you can even get these already sprouted or already started. There's some folks that will start the plants and then sell them at the markets. Can make more money if you start these plants. As a matter of fact, a chayote normally costs, it used to be around a quarter or 50 cents. Nowadays, these cost $1 to $2 each generally in the market, but a plant will easily cost you at least $15 to $20. So you grab a couple of these, get them growing, and you can turn a profit pretty quick. This is a very fast growing plant, and I will know very quickly whether or not this is going to grow. Matter of fact, within the next couple of weeks, actually within even this 1 week, by next week, I should know whether this is going to grow or if it's going to die. Now, I have some raised bed and potting mix here. Oof. Big old bag. This is GMB Organics. They sell this over at Glendora Gardens Nursery. It's one of our local nurseries here for those of you who aren't from the area. And I've always really liked this raised bed and potting mix. I use it for all kinds of stuff. Today I'm going to use it for this chayote. I'm going to go ahead and fill this up most of the way with our soil here. Now this is pretty dry and I probably should have wet it down a little bit ahead of time, but that's okay. Things don't have to be perfect. Now, here we are. Now here's the trick with the chayote. You want the fat end on the bottom. The skinny part is where the plant is going to come out of. The fat end down here on the bottom, this is where the roots are going to come out of. If you take the chayote and you plant it like this, going the wrong way, it will die. It needs to be planted the correct way. So make sure skinny side up, fat side down, and it needs to be planted at a 45-degree angle. So we're actually going to stick it in this little pot here. In fact, let me get in a little closer and I can show you. I'll make another handful of this in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get this so that it is at a 45-degree angle. I don't want it straight up and down like that. I want it to lean slightly off to the side. Now, I don't quite have enough soil in here yet, so I'm going to add a little bit more. I want to make sure that the top of this has a straight shot over the edge of the rim here. I don't want the plant bumping into the plastic. I'm going to add a little bit more here. There we go. I think that should be about right there. And then I'll just add some more soil on top. You want the tip of the chayote to be poking out of the soil. You don't want to bury it completely. So I'm going to go ahead and pack that in nicely. Not too hard, but good and firm. For those of you who are just joining, we are planting chayote right now. And for anyone who might be watching the recording later on, don't forget that I do this every Monday at 5:30 p.m. We are live. And there we go. That's about what I like to see. Maybe a little bit further up. There we go. Give you a close-up of this. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to type them out in the chat. I'll be back at the cell phone in just a second, and I'll read your questions and answer them if I can. All right, now this is what our first chayote is going to look like here. Voila, planted it all the way up to the top. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to water this in, and I'm planning on keeping this inside, actually on a windowsill. You can keep this outside, but you need to make sure that you protect it. Critters will come along, they will rip this out of the pot, and they will eat it. Chayote is very popular with raccoons and possums and all kinds of critters. They love to eat it. It's a very tasty little vegetable. So you need to make sure that you protect them, especially when they are this size. Now let me run through the chat here really quick. Hello, Hector. Yolanda says, my dad grew it behind his garage, didn't plant them, just appeared. Not sure how they got there. That happens sometimes. Yolanda asks, why the 45-degree angle? The answer is, I was taught to plant them at a 45-degree angle. I don't know. I've always been taught to plant them like that. That seems to be the advice that I've gotten from professors, from gardeners, from farmers. Everybody says not to plant it completely 90 degrees or vertical. Let's see here. I love the Joe Paris style cattle panel bean arch. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. This cattle panel arch, I love these too. They're super strong, very inexpensive. Matter of fact, I should make a video on how to build these. They're so easy. But thank you very much for that compliment. You know, what's funny about this arch is I was putting this arch together when it was raining, and I got my wire, and I came in and I attached the arch down here at the bottom on all four corners, and then it started sprinkling on me. And so it started sprinkling on me, and I said, uh-oh, I'm gonna go inside and I'll come back and I'll finish tying this up later. And sure enough, I'm just realizing now that I never finished this. This arch has been up for over a year, and I'm just now realizing that it's only tied off down here at the bottom. This isn't going anywhere though. This is a pretty serious arch. Matter of fact, I don't want to break it here, but I'm not going to put all of my weight on it, but I would say that this could take easily 150 pounds. I weigh more than 150 pounds though, so I'm going to not put all of my weight on that. All right, now we still have one more chayote here. I wanted to demonstrate planting one in the pot here. I also wanted to try planting one in the ground. Now I have two arches where I'm planning on putting these chayote. This arch you see here, and then on the other side of the yard, just a couple of feet that way, I'll show you in a minute, I have another arch. I'm gonna transplant this one after it started growing onto the second arch. So in a week or two or three, just depending on how quickly this grows, I'll transplant that in. I want to see which one does better, the one that's planted right where it's going to go, or the one that's planted after it's had a chance to sprout and grow in a pot for a little bit. Now, The second chayote, this area is actually really sandy, and I really should have wet this down before I did this, but that's all right. One thing that I want to do is I do want to create a little bit of a berm around my chayote, just so that when I initially start watering it, it's easy to make sure that I'm saturating all of the soil around the chayote. But I mean, this is the easiest thing in the world. I mean, really, just come in. You know what? Let me pull the camera a little bit closer, give you a better view. How about that? Let's see here. Let's come on in here, and I will lower this down a little bit here. Move this bag out of the way. There we are. Okay. A slightly better angle, but only slightly. How about that? That'll work for me. Hopefully that'll work for you. So as I was saying, chayote, super easy to plant, easy to grow as long as some critter doesn't come along and eat it. Again, I want to make sure that I plant it at a 45-degree angle. I do not want it 90 degrees going this way. I want to aim it at my arch here. Actually, I might tilt it up just a little bit more. I want to make sure that I've got a good angle so that this comes up, reaches the arch, and this should just start climbing right away. I'm going to go ahead and tuck this in just like that. Make myself a little bit of a berm around it, and I'll extend this berm later on. I'm going to keep it a little bit smaller right now, make it bigger in time. There we go. And as I mentioned, critters like to eat these, and I need to protect this, so I've got some chicken wire that's been laying around for a while, and I'm going to do this the lazy way. I'm just going to take this whole roll, I'm going to stick it right here. I'm going to grab a couple of rusty staples. Ooh, look at that. Very rusty. I'm going to use these to pin the bottom down here. Got 4, that should be good enough for right now. This is not the only thing that's going to hold this in place. I think that these staples wouldn't do a very good job of holding this in place if a raccoon came along and decided that it wanted to knock this over. But can use that to give it a little bit protection there, and then I'm just going to take a couple of blocks like so. I'm going to lean them up against the sides, just like that. This is a very lazy way to do this. Voila. Now, if a critter really wanted to come in here and knock this over, they could. Of course, if I had more blocks like this, more concrete blocks to stack around this, it would do a much better job. In fact, it might even be better just to do that. Yeah, I don't think that's going anywhere. That's good. So there we go. This chayote is now planted and protected. I'm going to grab the hose and I'm going to give it a little bit of water. Let's see here. Got a couple of questions here. Let's take a look at the chat. Phil says we use one arch for vining vegetables and another for Virgin's Bower clematis that is grown to be in very densely. Pollinators seem to love. That sounds lovely. Oh, thank you, Yolanda. I'm glad that the shot was good. Grab the hose and we'll get this watered in really quick. I should probably have just had a watering can ready to go, but as I say every week, I'm not that smart. All right, here comes the hose. Yep. The hose is very weepy today. Oh my goodness. I'm getting all wet. Now I'm going to put a little bit of water on there, let it sit for a second. Give my onions a little bit of a wash off to the side here. Let that soak in for a second. Now this is going to take some time to really soak into the ground because the soil was so hydrophobic, it was so dry. That area has not been watered on purpose for a while, and we haven't gotten very much rain lately. So we'll let that do its thing. Oh, I guess I should have given this a little bit of water too, but that's okay. I'll do that later. I don't want to bore you with all the watering. I've got a great question in chat. Is this chayote an annual plant? Will it die after we harvest the fruits? And then do we have to do it again? So I have been told that chayote is actually perennial, that it will actually survive for multiple seasons. I have never grown chayote before. My grandparents had chayote when I was young, but I honestly don't remember that too well. So I am not a chayote expert, but I'm pretty sure that they are supposed to be perennial. There's a lot of things here in California that are normally treated as annuals, but can be like perennials. Good example are our tomato plants. Tomatoes are really an annual plant, but here in California you can get multiple seasons out of them. Now I'm going to set my stand over here. We're not going to do the log quite yet, but I'm going to put this in place like so. Then I'm going to take the camera with me while we take a look at a couple of things around the yard before we get to that last part. Now, whoop, I forgot to finish turning this off. Make sure you turn your water off. Don't want the pressure in there either. Not a good idea. This is getting pretty leaky. Now, last week I mentioned that our tomatoes on the east side of the bed have been doing fantastic, but the tomatoes on the west side were not doing so great. Good news, both tomatoes have come out and have started growing very aggressively. So last week this was half the size. This has doubled its height in 1 week. So whatever was bumming this tomato plant out, it has gotten over it. It's doing great. You can see all the little carrots are popping up as well. This tomato is doing well, although I've got to say, I think this one has come out a lot more than that one has. That was actually a little bit bigger than that last week. But both of them are doing well. Of course, not as well as the Juliet, which, as you can see, is already up here to the second rung. Lots of flowers on it. Haven't noticed any tomatoes on here yet. Matter of fact, it'd probably be good just to snap those off for now and let this grow up a little bit taller before we get any tomatoes on it. But that's okay. I'm gonna let it do its thing. And of course, we have our Sun Gold down on this end. Sun Gold is one of my favorite tomatoes. They've both put on a lot of growth, and honestly, in the next couple of weeks, these things are going to be absolute monsters. Although I gotta say, not so much as these crazy basils. I'm telling you, I mean, this basil was, goodness, it was probably about yay tall when I got it. So yeah, it's tripled in size at least since we put it in here. Same thing for all of our flowers. Marigolds are doing great. The alyssum is still going absolutely bonkers. All doing fantastic. Now I did want to show over here on our trees, our peach still has not put buds out. I'm getting a little bit worried. We'll keep an eye on this. I'm not giving up on it, but that won't stop me from worrying a little bit. The plum is still doing great, still putting on new growth, looking very healthy. Same thing for the persimmon, although we still have something in here chomping away at the persimmon. I don't know what's causing this damage. I've been coming out to try and figure out what's doing this, but I don't know what it is. Now, I just realized, look at that, we even have some little flowers on here. That's a little unexpected. Now, since this is the first year for this plant, I should really pluck these flowers off. But since this is not my tree, this is my father's tree, I'm going to ask first, and we'll decide whether or not we're going to pluck these off. Although it does look like, actually, these look like they're pollinated already, so I think there's going to be some fruit forming on this fuyu. Let's see. Toka says, I had a friend who grew chayote all over his whole garage. His wife made him take it down, even though he was giving to the whole neighborhood. Yes. I've been told that family members have grown chayote. The vines grew 20, 30 feet long, and they said they were getting hundreds of chayote every year. In fact, they said that it was so much that you could have one person growing some chayote vines, and you really can feed the entire neighborhood. Yolanda says, would you pinch off the flowers of small sweet peppers so that it can grow more? I think I have pepper plants growing, which I did not plant. I think they came up from the compost pile. Yeah, you can certainly do that. Usually a good idea when a plant is very young to pinch off the flowers to encourage it to grow more roots. We have our 2 pepper plants over here. This is a luncheon pepper, I think they call it. It's a little bit like one of those little mini bell peppers. It's a very, very mild, sweet pepper, great for roasting. This already had this pepper on it when we picked up the plant. And if I had cut this off, this plant may have gotten to that size. So this plant here is a jalapeno, and I pinched all of the flowers off of this. I did not pinch the fruit off of this one. So you can clearly see the winner here. The one in the front did not have its flowers or fruit pinched. This one did. And look at this. This one has no flowers on it. And this one is just absolutely covered in flowers, and it's twice the size. So I think that this is a real good test bed here for whether or not you want to pinch the flowers off of your peppers. Miriam asks, do you use Castile soap to combat pest-eating leaves? If yes, what brand organic Castile do you use? So I actually don't use Castile soap. In fact, I don't really do a whole lot about damage on leaves like that. Now, here's the thing. If I go and I take soap, or I take an insecticide, or I just take whatever product I have and I start spraying this, I don't see the pest insect. The only thing that I see on here, the only thing I have seen is actually beneficial insects. So if I come in and I start spraying this, I don't see any pests. I may end up harming the plant, or I may end up killing the beneficial insects that I do see. So what I want to do is I want to come out at the right time and figure out what pest is doing this before I attempt any kind of a treatment. So once I have identified what's causing this damage, then I can use a product, or I can use Castile soap, or whatever it is that I happen to want to use. But I always identify the pest before I attempt any kind of a treatment. In fact, they've done test studies in IPM and found that when you preemptively try to treat something and you don't see the pest on the plant, you can actually make the pests much, much worse. You can actually create an outbreak of pests, as a matter of fact. Sometimes we come in and we spray something where the pest is already gone, and we might have a beneficial insect in here, like a ladybug larva or a lacewing larva, eating the pests. When we spray, we kill the beneficial insects that was bringing things under control, and then the pest insects can come right back in and cause more problems. So again, I'll be leaving this alone. I know that it might not be pretty, but that's okay. I'll eventually figure out what's causing that damage and we'll get it fixed. Now, a couple of other things I want to point out here. Let's walk this way. Gonna swap hands here. Now, I mentioned last week and I've mentioned a couple of times in my classes as well, that we've all of this powdery mildew on my dad's goji berry. I mentioned this in the newsletter as well. Hey, look, a little critter. Oh, funny. This looks like the itsy bitsy ant. In fact, I think that is the itsy bitsy ant. I wonder what they're doing in here. And a fly. I'm getting distracted. So if we look down here at the base of this plant, we can see that there's actually quite a bit of powdery mildew on here. This is a pretty big problem on this plant. We have tried to use different products on this to knock it back. I'm attempting to use Revitalize on this. I think that there's a very good possibility that this goji berry might just be in the wrong spot, because every single year early in the season we get powdery mildew on this plant. In fact, this plant was actually quite large. It had a whole bunch of branches that were going this way against the fence and coming out this way as well. And I chopped it all back in an attempt to get the powdery mildew under control. Sometimes a plant just isn't meant to be in a certain spot. And as I've mentioned before, in this yard, we have this wooden fence that goes all the way across down that way. And we have a wooden fence over on this end. So the airflow back here is not very good. The air actually becomes pretty stagnant back here unless we have a windy day. That's one of the reasons why the powdery mildew gets on a lot of plants, including the goji berry here. Let's see, we got some more questions in the chat. Phil says, rabbits have been the bane of our large garden's existence. Desperate, I am now considering taking up falconry. That's one good way. Rabbit traps, can work really great too. And if all else fails, I can get you a really good recipe for rabbit stew. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's see. Matoka says, it's on my goji berries as well. What to do? So, I have been taking off the really heavily infected leaves. So when I see a leaf like this, I pull it off and I take it out of the area to try and stop the spread. I'm also using a product called Revitalize. I just started it and it really hasn't had enough time to do anything yet. I'll have to do several applications, but I do recommend Revitalize. It's a biofungicide that can help with things like powdery mildew. But to be honest, it probably would have done a better job if I had started using it sooner. The earlier you can start using Revitalize, the better a job it does. Yes, so Matoka asks in the chat, can the goji plants be moved? Is it feasible? Yes, so this can very easily be moved. You can dig it out and replant it. And you can even take any of these long stems here and you can cut them and you can just stick them in the ground and make more plants. As a matter of fact, I'm doing that right here. Let me show you. So you'll notice that this part of the plant here has been buried. And notice that this stem here is under the soil. Now, this actually comes out of the main stem back here. And what I've done is I've pinned it down under the soil to try to get new roots growing along this. Once this has some new roots growing on it, I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut this out. And this will be a new goji plant. I'm trying to do the same thing in a couple of spots. In fact, I have some over here as well, where I've buried... In fact, as you can see, I've buried all of this right here in an attempt to get roots to come out of these pieces in here. This is actually called layering, and this is a grafting style that's very similar to cuttings. Whereas with cuttings, we would cut this off and stick it in the soil. With layering, you put the soil on first to try and get this to grow roots. And then once this has roots on it, we cut it out and we have a new plant. So that's actually a really easy way to propagate goji berries. Goji berries grow very, very readily from cuttings. In fact, at the California Conservation Corps, I took some cuttings from this plant and I just stuck them in the ground over at the Corps, and they have goji berries there now. Yolanda says, rabbit stew sounds good. Julia Child used to say that American should eat rabbits more. I've eaten it and it's very good, and no, it does not taste like chicken. So actually, I have to admit, I have actually eaten rabbit stew, except it wasn't rabbit stew. I'm sorry, it was rabbit chili. And actually, it was, see, it had rabbit, it had, I think, some bison in it. I think it had rattlesnake in there. This was at that really, really famous restaurant. Goodness, what is it called? When you're heading up north towards San Luis Obispo, it's the old Stagecoach restaurant, something like that. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? I'm sure someone's had to have been to or heard of the Stagecoach restaurant, but they're famous for having a building that's been around since the 1800s. The restaurant, I think, has been there since the 1800s, and they still have some of the original recipes, including chili with a little bit of all of the animals in it. I will say that the chili did taste very good, actually. I don't know what any of those different meats tasted like because it was all just kind of mixed in together. All right, now let's start heading over this way. Now, I wanted to spend the last little bit of time working on our wooden box over here, but first, just one more quick look at the herb spiral. Look at how good it's doing. Everything is growing in so nicely. Very excited about how nice these nasturtiums are looking. This one down here is just really taking off. I also have some pot marigolds that I planted by seed, also known as calendula. These finally started coming up, so I've got a calendula over here. Got a calendula over here, one right over there. And we have some around the outside edge of the spiral as well. Of course, these are all some weeds popping up, and I'm going to have to come in and work on this. But now that the calendula seeds are up, I can come in here and start cleaning this up. And then once these get up to size a little bit, I can put a little bit of mulch down here to keep the weeds down. But everything in the herb spiral is very, very happy. It's growing in very nicely. I mean, look at that cilantro. I've been picking from the cilantro. I've actually harvested from it several times already, and I feel like every time I come back out here, it's doubled in size again. Very good cilantro. Garlic chives have been really nice too. In fact, I just had some of these and some food the other day. And we had a volunteer. I could be wrong, but I do believe that this is another borage. The leaf looks right. In fact, let's take a look at that and compare it to the borage we planted over here. Looks like a pretty similar leaf to me. Of course, that's more crinkly and painful. Ow, don't touch borage. Maybe it's not borage. Well, actually, no, it does have that pokiness to it. Could be that the leaves are just very, very young. We'll wait and see what this is before I pull that out. Yes, I agree that nasturtiums are the best. Goodness, I love eating these. Matter of fact, I haven't tried this one yet. This is actually a red nasturtium. I usually just plant seeds, but I got a pack of red nasturtiums to check out, and you know what? I forgot to check that for aphids. Spicy and tasty. Now the dill is looking really good this week. We went by this, but I didn't really point it out, but boy howdy, I tell you, the smell of this dill is just fantastic. It's still small, but don't worry everybody, pretty soon that's going to become a real big deal. Ha, ha, ha. All right, time to move on. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move on to our lovely little avocado planter log here. Now, I'm very excited because This is just about done. So I'm not going to go too much deeper than this. I just widened this out a little bit. I'm planning on widening this side out just a little bit more, but this side I'm happy with. If I go any deeper, I'm only going to go maybe another inch or so in the bottom of this planter. And then I'm going to go ahead and drill the holes out. As a matter of fact, I already started drilling over here to see if my drill could get to the bottom. Not quite yet. My drill bit isn't quite long enough to break through to the end yet, but we're almost there. Now let's see. Oh yeah, it is possible that could be a cucumber or a melon in the spiral. That's very possible. All right, I'm gonna get this in here. Lower this a little bit more. There we go. All right, now I'm gonna get some gloves because everybody keeps telling me you gotta use gloves. And I never use gloves. I am using my gloves today, everybody. I am going to protect my hands. First time ever. Let's see here. Yeah, I've just been coming in. I've been chopping this side back a little bit further. Don't have too much more to go, though. As you can see, whoops, hold on a second. I gotta open up the chat over here so I can see what y'all are saying. Let's see here. Okay, now I can see the chat. Let's see. Phil says, I know I'm late, but I love that herb spiral idea, adding that to my list of projects. Yeah, I really love the herb spiral. It's one of my favorite things, honestly. One of my favorite projects that I've done in a while. I am just now finishing up my herb spiral video. I was hoping to release it over the weekend. Didn't quite get it done, but I've been editing it. And I'll probably wait to release my video on the herb spiral this Friday. I will definitely have it finished by Friday. That'll be a fun one. I recorded the entire process of building the herb spiral. And in the video that I'm putting together, I sped it all up to a time lapse. So it should be fun. I think it's going to end up being about 7 or 8 minutes long in total. Probably going to make a short out of it as well for people who want to see the entire project in 30 seconds or less. Yeah. I've actually been thinking about this log here, and I believe that I'm going to plant some mint in this log. I wasn't quite sure what to put in here, and I was thinking some kind of flowers, but I have several different types of mint that I picked up from the LA Fairgrounds, and they need a home. So I was thinking, you know what? This would be a really cool place to put some different kinds of mint, maybe some taller flowers. I think that'll look nice. While we're working on this, how's everybody doing out there? How are your gardens doing at home? Anybody have anything exciting going on? There we go. I think I'm going to have to make a video out of finishing this off too. Although I don't know, I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it. At the very least, even if I don't make a video about this planter, I will include this planter in one of my upcoming videos, maybe one of the garden tour videos. Can't wait to see this thing planted up. Bill says this is our first year attempting a full production market garden. Oh my goodness. Last year we did just a handful of weeks. This year we're going to try for every week. That is a big undertaking, I know. Out of curiosity, Phil, are you using anything to schedule your plants, like Seed Time? There's that Seed Time website is really good for creating schedules for market gardens. I believe that's what we're going to be using up at the Lyle Center. I know some of you already know I'm going to be teaching a new class up at the Lyle Center at Cal Poly Pomona. And me and my co-professor are going to be running the market garden that they have up there. It's called the Village Green. We're actually about to get started pretty soon on our year plan. They're going to have us do a year plan for production in the garden, and then we're going to teach the class in the fall. Excited about that. Let's see. Kind of nice when you've already gotten most of this carved out and you start skiving down the sides. It's a lot easier. As you can see, got a lot of wood coming off here. I think I want to come in here a little bit more. Now, one thing I will say is I originally planned on smoothing out the inside of this log planter. And I decided the other day, I don't want it to be smooth. In fact, I want to have some divots and cuts and imperfections so that the plant roots can start working their way into this. Now, this log is going to start to deteriorate rather quickly. Avocado wood does not last very long, especially when you have soil inside of it. But that's okay, because I know it's not going to last forever, but we're just going to enjoy it while it's here. Phil says, I am more on the side of help plant what she says when she says, but I'll mention Seed Time to her. Yeah, that's a smart answer. No, I understand that. Yeah, I will say that websites like Seed Time can be helpful, but everybody has their own way of doing things, you know. The nice thing about Seed Time and websites like it is that you can plug in what plants you want to grow when you want to start them, and it'll help to tell you, or help to create the schedule to remind you when to start seeds, when to sow plants, to make sure that you constantly have stuff growing in the garden. Very useful. Ooh-wee. Let's see here. Getting real close. Gonna come in this angle a little bit. A little bit of that off. Oh, you're very welcome for the recommendation. I actually just learned about that website recently myself. The class I'm going to be teaching at Cal Poly, I'm going to be teaching with actually one of my past students who is also a teacher now. We're going to be co-teaching the class, and she's the one who told me about Seed Time. I've only just started using it, but I found it very useful. There we go. Oh, good chunks in there. There we go. I think I want to take this in a little bit further too. Let's see. That's good. What about the rest of you out there? How's everybody else doing today? Enjoying the cool weather? Where's Yolanda? Are you having your dinner yet, Yolanda? Now, I wonder if Maria's still in here too. I didn't notice if Maria joined after we had our little change up. I tell ya, all these little issues with YouTube can get pretty annoying sometimes. I do apologize again to everybody for that little blip we had at the beginning of the stream today. I blame YouTube and not myself. Let's see what Yolanda says. So, Yolanda says, thanks, Ben. Great info and pictures of your parents' garden. See you on Friday. Oh, see you on Friday, Yolanda. And hey there, Sandy. If you're watching me on your TV, Sandy, how are you typing? Are you on your cell phone too? I guess you could type on your TV. Seems kind of hard. Oh, Yolanda says, oops, didn't mean to send that last message. I'm here. As for the cool weather, I enjoyed it. And no rain, better to run errands when it's cool. Yolanda's getting ready to say goodbye. Look at that. Now, I think just about at the point in time on this project where it's time to start drilling my hole down here. And this is going to be real interesting to see how this works out. And I think we'll get this drilled out down here right now after I get this last piece out. Oh boy. There we go. Oops. Still a little piece hanging on there. There we go. All right. Let's do the drill. One of my favorite things in here. Now, I think I'm going to have to sit down for this. See if I can get myself in here. All right. Now I want my hole to be pretty close to the end down here. Let's see. You know what? I need to smooth this out just a little bit more. Got a high spot right here. I need to make sure that my hole I'm going to drill is at the lowest point on this end so that I don't end up with water pooling up in the bottom in the soil. That wouldn't be good for my plants. Let's get this little chunk. There we go. Out of here. Okay. And that's better. That feels about right. So we'll come in right about there. Start drilling this hole. Let's see. I don't think I've used this drill since that first time when I started working on this project, huh? Oops. There we go. Let's get this lined up right about there. And we shall drill. Yolanda says, I already had my dinner before you came on. Spinach salad with egg, almonds, tomato, and salad dressing. Goodness gracious, you're going to make me hungry, Yolanda. I haven't had my dinner yet. All right, now here's the problem that you encounter when you're using this kind of a drill. So now I'm going to start hitting my drill against the side here, so I have to start using the ratcheting function. Now I have to make sure it's going the right way, though. This is the fun part. Oops, give me 1 second. Can't see the chat. There we go. Sandy says, I remember my dad using a drill like that. I remember my dad using a drill like this too. Not out of necessity, but I think more for fun. Oh boy, let's see here. Eventually I'm going to get to the point where I can only do this little motion. That's where it really starts getting exciting. Start clearing that out a little bit. And the mosquitoes are after me. Goodness gracious. This is the real exciting part. This is what you all came to watch. Isn't that right? So Yolanda asks, Ben, is there a reason you're using this type of hand drill instead of the modern one? And yes, because I want to do everything by hand. This tree has been part of my family for over 50 years. It was 100 years old. You know, this tree meant a lot to me, and I wanted to make sure that when I built and carved this out of this old tree, I wanted to show it some respect and to do things the hard way. So I'm punishing myself. Now this part's probably going to end up taking too long for you all to wait and watch. Goodness, this is going to take a while. Everybody's going to be asleep by the time I'm done drilling this hole. Phil says, I am jealous of your growing season. We just had a foot of new snow a couple weeks ago. Luckily, it has melted and early planting has begun. You know, I love our growing season here too, but at the same time, I sometimes wish we had the seasons here in California. I think that you tend to appreciate the nice weather when you have to deal with stuff like snow. Now, of course, I'm not complaining about being in California by any means. Should be getting pretty close to the other side, I hope. This is the most exciting thing anyone's seen all day. Now, when I get done doing this, I'm going to go hit my head against the wall, just for fun, just for the, the joy of slamming my head into the wall. That was a joke, by the way. Now, the real fun part is actually backing this drill back out, and I'll tell you right now that I won't make you all sit through that part because I did this on the other side the other day, and it took me almost longer to back the drill back out. It feels like it's breaking through the other side, though. Ooh, I can only do one click. Ooh. One at a time, but oh boy, it really feels like it's poking through the other side. I'm gonna have to take a look at the other side, except I can't really look at it with everything. I've got it all set up. Let's see. Yeah, it should be just about there. Maybe I'm drilling down into the soil right now. Yolanda says, yikes, too cold for me. I'm a Californian through and through. And yeah, Phil, it is cold out there. I tell you a funny story, Phil. I went with my dad to Nova Scotia, Canada when I was a teenager, 17. And we went during the summertime when we had left Los Angeles. I think it was about 105 degrees. We were having a really nasty heat wave. When we got up to Nova Scotia, Canada, it was very, very cool. In fact, I think it was the high was something like 75. And so our first morning, we're staying at this little bed and breakfast, and me and my dad were both wearing long pants, and I think I was wearing a long sleeve shirt, you know, because it's 75 degrees, or, you know, actually it was the morning, so it's probably 68 degrees, and it was a little bit chilly for us Californians. So me and my dad step out, and we're wearing long pants and long sleeve shirts, and there's the owner of the bed and breakfast, who's also a lobsterman, just outside working on his lobster traps, and he's wearing shorts and a tank top, and he looks like he's about ready to peel his tank top off. He's covered in so much sweat, and he looks at us and goes, "What's wrong with you? You two are crazy. Why are you wearing so much clothing on such a hot day?" So yeah, us Californians are a little bit crazy. Okay, I think that's as far as it's gonna go. Yeah, it's catching back here, so that's actually not gonna go any further. And fortunately, I don't know that I've actually gone through on the other side, but let's see here. Now, I said I wasn't gonna make you all sit through this part, but I'm gonna see if I can jiggle this out gently. Okay. I'm going to bore everybody if I make you sit through the rest of this. I'll finish backing this out on my own time off camera. I'm not going to make you all sit and watch that silliness. Let's spend the last couple of minutes together here. Let me grab the camera. That reached as far as this can go. On the back side, it's bumping up against a little ledge there, and I'm not quite all the way through. If I push this over, actually I can't push it that way. I have to push it this way. And I don't think I can push it that way right now because I've got all my stuff in it. Oh well. I'll take a look later and I'll show you all the results. It might be that I'll have to skive a little bit more wood off in here to poke the hole all the way through. Of course, I could always drill from the other side, but it would be too easy, and I like doing things the hard way, so. Let's see here. Phil says, we had a very nice rain today. Tomorrow will be balmy and sunny, 46 degrees. Yolanda says, oh my God. I wouldn't leave my home, that's too cold. And yes, I agree. 46 degrees is actually the point where Californians freeze to death. Anything below 46, and we actually just die instantly. We don't even freeze, we just die. Kidding. Alrighty, everybody. Well, that's just about all the time that we've got for today. So I'm going to close out the live stream looking at these pretty flowers. I do want to thank everybody for joining today. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Yolanda. I don't know if Maria's still here, but thank you, Maria. Thank you, Sandy. I'm not sure if Miriam is still here, but thank you if you are. Thank you to my family. Thank you, Matoka, if you're still here. I think, did I get everybody? I know there was some more people here. Thank you very much again, Phil. Alrighty, everybody. Well, we got to the end of the flowers, so have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe out there.